We're back on the channel with a pre-match preview of Southampton's home game against Everton in the Premier League this Saturday. In today's show, we're going to be joined by a very special guest, a podcaster and broadcaster that knows Everton inside out to get the feeling from the Toffees. How do the Toffees feel they will fare against Southampton this weekend? What should we look out for in Everton? How will they set up? How will they attack this game? And how has their season gone so far? I'm going to get to the heart of that Everton fan base with my guest, who is on the show very shortly. But before we do have my guest, Stephen, we're going to take a look at a few of the statistics around the game between Southampton and Everton, a team that Russell Martin and Southampton have already played once this season in the Carabao Cup. Everton, we beat on penalties at Goodison Park back in September. That victory meant that Southampton have now lost just one of the last four head-to-heads against Everton. We've won 3. Less time to prepare for this game, Southampton, due to our cup action in midweek. And the reason we're still in that cup is because we beat Everton on penalties in the last round. And Everton have had a free week this week. So they have had no cup competition because we knocked them out. But looking at the week just gone for Southampton, obviously we played Stoke on Tuesday night. A tough night for Southampton. I've already done my final word on it. I'm not going to go over it again. I was hoping it was going to be a game that was going to give us as fans a bit of confidence, the players some confidence. But I just think there is, as I said in my show a couple of days ago, there is a lack of belief at the moment. And certainly we're low on confidence right now. And that's why the players, the manager, everybody will need the fans the weekend. No matter what happens Saturday, I think it's really, really important that every single one of us backs the team from the get-go. And the opening exchanges in this game will be really important, no matter what side Russell Martin selects. And I will talk about the team selection at the back end of the show. We haven't had the press conference yet, so we don't know the team news. But we know that Will Smallbone will probably miss this one. Still, he's out injured. And also, Ross Stewart is still injured, as we know. Flynn Downs, he picked up an injury against Man City. Will he be fit? He didn't play in midweek, but I'm sure we'll find out in the press conference that Russell Martin has this Friday. Everton are on a little bit of a better run. Since that defeat against Southampton in the Carabao Cup, they've not lost a game. They've drawn a few. We'll go over their fixtures very shortly, but they haven't lost a game since that. We'll look at all their fixtures very, very shortly. A positive result for Southampton is an absolute must, but Sean Dyche is a manager that does play a lot of direct, long ball football. They've already beaten a promoted side away from home this season already in Ipswich Town 2-0. They played well that day. It was one of their better away performances. They do play away quite well. Their record against teams that have been newly promoted, this is a statistic for you, is pretty good as well. No defeat in their last 6 against newly promoted sides. They've won 4 and drawn 2. You have to go back to November 2022, and that was the last time they lost a game on their travels to a newly promoted team. That was against Bournemouth down here on the South Coast, and it was a 3-0 defeat for Everton that day. That wraps up a few of the statistics going into it. We should look at the form. I think it's important that we do look at the form. We'll look at the head-to-head as well. And we'll also have a look at Everton's team that finished up last weekend in that draw against Fulham at Goodison Park. Well, here are the fixtures in full. Let's have a look at how their season has unravelled so far. Away trip to Tottenham Hotspur where they got beaten 4-0. They then had League Cup action against Doncaster at Goodison and won 3-0. That set them up to play Southampton in the next round where they got beaten. They had Bournemouth at home, were 2-0 down, come back Everton that day to win 3-2. Sounds very familiar, that doesn't it? Leicester City at home a couple of weeks ago. They then went to Aston Villa. They were winning there as well. And they went on to lose that game 3-2. So a tough away day. A very good side in Unai Emery's Aston Villa. They are a very good side. And Southampton played them in a couple of weeks. Obviously, they then played Southampton in that Carabao Cup draw, which they lost on penalties on the night. That was at the start of September. And since then, they've started to find a little bit of form have Everton. They drew with the champions of the Sky Bet Championship last year, Leicester, at Leicester. So they went up to the KP. That was 1-1. They then played Crystal Palace at home and beat them 2-1. Palace have been struggling at the start of this campaign. They then had a decent result, a 0-0 draw at home against Newcastle, who are out of form at the moment, but all the same, I'd say that's a pretty good point. They then went away to Ipswich Town, who got promoted along with Southampton last season, and they beat Ipswich on their home turf 2-0. It was a comfortable win for them on the day. They played very, very well. And then they played Fulham at the weekend, where they drew 1-1. So they have, like I've said, started to find a little bit of form in the recent run of fixtures, but their fans are still a little bit disgruntled with their manager, Sean Dyche, and the way that he played football. Totally different to the way that Southampton play. They're very much a long ball side. They miss midfield a lot, and we'll see that on Saturday, and they don't play a great deal of football. And our guest coming up will give us the full lowdown on how Everton play in the Premier League and how they play as a team at this moment in time. Right, let's have a look at the team that finished up for Everton against Fulham. The team that started the team that finished, the team that started against Fulham. This was at Goodison Park last weekend. Their biggest injury concern is the number 7, Dwight McNeil, who's been in good form for them this season. And Dominic Calvert-Lewin did start up front, and he was joined later on in the game by Beto, who's got the equaliser for Everton in this one. Both of these two are a handful, but I'm being told that Calvert-Lewin is having a tough season by the Everton fans that I speak to. And we'll find out later on in this pre-match show that the two danger men could potentially scarily be the two centre-backs for Everton, because they are both very, very dangerous from set play. Obviously, in goal, you've got Jordan Pickford, who has incredible distribution. He goes long into the strikers a lot, and I see that would be a way they really look to hurt Southampton the weekend. They're not going to come and press us. They will look to bypass midfield a lot. Saints will have a lot of the ball. It's whether they can break Everton down, and whether Everton will look to go long into Calvert-Lewin or Beto. It depends on who starts. Right, before we bring my guest in, let's look at the head-to-head between Southampton and Everton. So here is the overall head-to-head. And there's a statistic I want to look at, and it's not that bad. And it's at St Mary's Stadium. How many times have we played Everton at St Mary's? 21 times. Southampton have got the better of Everton at home a good few times. 12 wins against the 4 of Everton. 5 draws there as well. In the Premier League, in total, we played 42 games against Everton. They have the better, though, with 18 wins compared to Southampton's 14. And they've had 10 draws between the two sides. And the total score in this one, Southampton don't favour this one. It's 52 goals scored for Southampton compared to the 61 of Everton. So Everton come out on top with the goals scored against the two teams. I hope you've enjoyed the build-up here with the statistics and a little look at Everton's form so far. Get involved in the comments box below. Give me any statistics that you may have going into this one. Any memories of players that have played for both sides as well. Because I joined the Toffee Blues in a show today, and we were talking about players that have played for both clubs. And a question for you to get involved in the comments box below, a little quiz question for you. Which goalkeeper has played for both clubs in recent years? Get involved in the comments box below. One goalkeeper who played under Ronald Koeman at Southampton, but that is your quiz question today. Get involved in the comments box below. Right, let's get my guest in and we can start taking a look at all things Everton in the show now, because the Toffee Blues have kindly let me have one of their content creators, one of their broadcasters, Stephen, to join me here on the Football Martin channel today, and he is going to give me a very good insight into all things Everton. Welcome along to Stephen today from the Toffee Blues. First and foremost, Stephen, where can people find you guys? How do we get the lowdown on Everton if we want to read a bit more, watch a bit more? Where do we find you?
Yeah, we're at Everton Newsfeed on X and Instagram. Our Instagram stuff's been really good recently as well. We're on TikTok as well. Basically, we're just very clued up on Everton. There's a lot of us as well. There's quite a big group of us, and we all sort of take little snippets of the production side of it, and we all take different types of videos. For me, it's mainly talking to opposition fans like yourself, Martin, and trying to get the lowdown on their opinion on Everton every week. But for other people, it can be transfers. We talk about all sorts of things, really. So yeah, go and check us out.
Yeah, go check them out. Some brilliant content, some unbelievable following. Your numbers are absolutely insane, by the way. Brilliant football club, Everton. Very, very well supported, an avid fan base. Very much looking forward to seeing the Evertonians come south this weekend. It's a big game for Southampton. How do you see this one as an Everton fan? You had a bit of a rocky start to the season, didn't you? I was looking at all the results a short while ago to see how the season did unfold, and it was a tough opener, wasn't it? It played Brighton at home and got beaten, went to Tottenham, got beaten by 4-0, but turned things around against Bournemouth in the league at home, come from behind. And since then, obviously, there was a defeat away to Villa. But since we played you in the Cup, you've gone unbeaten, haven't you? Talk to me about the season so far.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a turning point, wasn't it? Ashley Young's missed penalty, and he's actually been very good, to be fair, since he did miss that penalty. I think rocky is an understatement, if I'm being honest. I mean, we were absolutely poor for the first 4 games. We seemed to go into the season with absolutely no intention of making a statement, winning football matches from minute go, really. In August, it's been stay in the division and pick up points where you can. And you know, but the last 5 or so, we've really picked up. We began to have a bit more of that solidity that we didn't have at the start of the season, but we did have last season. Some of the players have improved as well, like Ashley Young and Michael Keane, who've not really been to the fans' taste this season, have improved and started to play a little bit more how we expect them to. But of course, there is still problems. There's always problems when you support this football club. The likes of Calvert-Lewin as well has been in for a lot of scrutiny recently. People have been saying maybe Beto should start, maybe Michael Keane should start at striker. But you know, I think we'll be okay. But on the whole, I mentioned it when we've spoken before that it's been the easiest way to put it is a roller coaster. It seems to be up and down every week, and genuinely, your mood is determined by the result that week. There's not really much patience with the Everton fan base at the moment. If we lose a game, the fan base do turn very, very quickly. If we win a game, we're the greatest club in Europe for a week. So yeah, it's definitely been an entertaining one, if anything, Martin.
Yeah, I've not watched loads of Everton this year, I'll be honest. But what style of football are you playing right now? Obviously, you had a really good result. You went to Portman Road and you beat another promoted side there in Ipswich Town, fairly comfortable on the day. What sort of style of football is he playing this year? Is he the sort of manager that will go out and press sides, or the sides that want the ball? Will he go out and press, or does he like to soak it up and sort of hit teams on the counter?
Percentage football. That's the only way I can describe it. It's been percentage football from the start of the season to right now. The one, I mean, we may as well just play with a goalkeeper and a striker because they're the only players who seem to be able to pass to each other from the kickoff and then straight back up top as well. You know, our midfield is completely non-existent when it comes to the way we play football. It's honestly a case of Pickford gets the ball, hits it as hard as he can, straight towards Calvert-Lewin, who tries to get a knockdown for something for the likes of McNeil or Decore. And then whenever the midfield is needed, it's only used to defend. And the defence is the exact same. There's no passing the ball, no zonal marking, no inverted fullbacks around here. It's very, very much very old school.
Yeah, very different to what Southampton are playing right now. A totally different style of football here. We're seeing totally the opposite to that right now. A lot of our fans are probably demanding to see a little bit more of how Everton play, a little bit more of like using the centre backs. And we've got a tall striker that we could potentially use, a big lad in Paul Inuachu. The manager doesn't particularly like to use him because he likes to build up slow. Do you think that the tactics against Southampton will be the same as what you've deployed all season? Do you think it will be Beto or Calvert-Lewin that will play and they will go long to him?
100%. I don't think there'll be any changing, and I think he's probably the most stubborn manager that we've had since Roberto Martinez, who was stubborn the exact other way, didn't want to defend, only wanted to build up and play
Mm,
similar football to what Russell Martin's playing right now at Southampton. So,
mm,
yeah, it'll be the exact same. It doesn't matter who we play, Martin. If we can be playing Man City or Southampton, Real Madrid, or anyone else, we will play the exact same way, and that doesn't change. And
mm.
honestly, if you're an opposition team, and you watch 90 minutes of Everton, and you can quite easily you've watched it all really. If you've watched one game, you've watched them all. So while I'm not too critical of them at the moment, I was on Saturday, but we did manage to rescue a point out of that game in the last minute,
Mm.
without really doing anything to deserve it. It was that way all the way. Even when we went 1-0 down, we could be 5-0 down, we could be 5-0 up, we could be playing the best team, the worst team. It doesn't matter. The system stays exactly the same. Pickford to Calvert-Lewin, knocks it down. We don't even try and play really, and try and get goals where they come and take your moments. Of course, it can work in terms of staying in the division. It can work in terms of getting big wins here and there, but you get absolutely no consistency from it.
Do Everton fans want to see something different? Do you think they're at the stage now where you kind of feel like now it's time to see a different brand of football, to see something a bit more exciting? Are you just not enjoying it as fans right now?
I don't think it's. I don't think that it's the case of we hate that style of football. I think we hate that style of football not working and nobody doing anything about it.
Mm,
It's again the definition of insanity, doing the same thing and expecting different results.
yeah.
Everton fans are quite happy to watch any football that gets results and is able to maximise players' strengths. And we seen it last year with Sean Dyche that it was working for the time. And Evertonians were very, very happy to watch it. I'll happily watch Sean Dyche football all season if we get results. Um, I really, I don't go to watch Everton to be entertained. I go to watch Everton to be informed and see how we're doing and support the team and be one of those 40,000 that gets behind them. But
Mm,
it's when it's not going well and there is no plan B. That's where there's a problem for Evertonians. And there has to be a plan B. There has to be something else. It doesn't matter what it is, but there has to be something. You can't be 1-0 down and keep playing the same way if it's still not working. And
mm.
but honestly, Evertonians aren't fussy over the type of football we play. We're just fussy over getting results, really, which I think
Getting
you
wins.
can forgive us for.
Yeah, Southampton fans feel very similar at the moment. Like we're frustrated probably with our style of play that the fact it's not working. We're 9 games in. This is game week 10. 25% of the season to be gone once we've completed the game at the weekend. Come 5 o'clock on Saturday, 25% of the season gone. It's a big chunk. And you, like you say, you want to be seeing results. We're not getting results right now. We're yet to win a Premier League game, just a 1 point on the board. Will Everton fans and Everton be relishing the trip south to St Mary's this weekend?
I think certainly because of how well we have played in certain away games under Sean Dyche, it will be one that Evertonians will think, okay, this is a real one that we can go in and expect to win.
Mm,
We've beaten a lot of teams away from home, especially teams that are in and around the bottom half of the table.
mm,
We've beaten West Ham away, we've beaten Brighton away, um, we've beaten Ipswich away in the last couple of weeks as well. We seem to get a lot of our good results away from home, and I think that for that reason, it will be one that Evertonians will look at and go, okay, let's make the most of this. Let's try and really get some goals and try and at least play some nice football and try something new out. Of
mm,
course, football's a weird game, and it doesn't work like that. You can be
mm,
playing that you can be playing a team that are leagues below you or leagues above you. If you stay in a game, you never really know where it's going to go. So, and with the lack of cutthroat brutality that Everton have up front at the moment, there's no way that I think we're going to be able to put this game to bed unless unless Southampton are very, very poor. Um,
mm,
Even if we go 2 or 3-0 up, it doesn't feel like Everton will really ever look like winners in a game until the final whistle's blown.
Yeah, we were like that at St Mary's a couple of weeks ago when Leicester visited. We were 2-0 up, and I think even at 2-0, we didn't feel comfortable at all. And we were right not to feel comfortable because we have this tendency not to defend set play very well. We have a tendency to switch off and make stupid mistakes. And it cost us, unfortunately, against Leicester. We had a man sent off, and we went on to lose the game 3-2. And the pressure's building now because we need to find that elusive first win really, really quickly now. I'm intrigued to know how Everton will approach the game against Saints. It sounds like they're going to play the same way. Who are the men that we need to watch out for as Southampton fans? Obviously, Calvert-Lewin's spoke about a lot, but you said he's not in great form. It took Beto to come off the bench against Fulham to rescue a point at Goodison Park last weekend. Who obviously McNeil's been playing well. Do you think it is McNeil and Beto that will really cause us problems at the weekend if Beto plays, obviously, as well?
Well, I think obviously there's also questions over Dwight McNeil. He picked up a knock against Newcastle, so that one's not going to be very going to be fun if we're missing out on him because he's arguably been our best player this season. So I think Jesper Lindstrom will come in for Everton. I think Beto probably will come in, and we mentioned on your channel about Saints' problems up front, scoring goals, and I think for that reason, the main danger men for Everton will be the two centre backs, Tarkowski and Keane. Also, because the way Everton attack is through set pieces. I think we have the most set piece goals in the Premier League since the start of last season. We've got something like 30 goals from set pieces. Really, it'll be a case of corners. Corners, free kicks and stuff. Yeah, so for me, and of course, I don't know if you saw it, Michael Keane's fantastic goal against Ipswich. He really does have the ability to take them like a seasoned striker, and he's definitely in terms of the word escapes me, but the ability to score goals out of the blue and not take too much time on the ball, he's better than Calvert-Lewin at that. Calvert-Lewin can be better in certain situations, but the ball falls to Michael Keane in the box. Usually he puts them away. And that's why a lot of fans are being called to just play him up front, which is what Sean Dyche did for the last 10 against Fulham, and it worked, having the two of them, Keane and Beto up front, because he just seems to be able to put them away from all angles. And honestly, I can urge any Southampton fans watching this, go and watch a Michael Keane goal compilation, because sometimes he looks like the Tissier in the box when the ball gets put in front of him. But I think for us, it'll be the big danger man will be Tarkowski and Keane. We'll be looking to get crosses into them. We'll be looking to get goals in that way, and also with how you mentioned about how poor Southampton have been going forward, it's a chance for them to have a good game, which I think is a tough one for Everton, because Michael Keane defensively never really looks too solid, but he's starting to get better now. He was quite good against Fulham on Saturday. So they're the two to watch out for Everton, the two centre backs, whether it is Branthwaite and Tarkowski or Keane and Tarkowski.
Yeah, be interesting to see. I think it will cause us problems from set play. Every side that we have played against this season has caused us a few issues. Team selection wise, do you think it'd be pretty close to the team that finished against or started against Fulham? Obviously, Beto come in late on in that game. You're talking about Dwight McNeil with that injury. Do you see Dwight McNeil probably being the only change to the 11, or would you expect maybe a couple of more changes?
Well, I think so. He's not too much of a tinker man, really. Sean Dyche. I think, Abdoulaye Doucouré has been playing a bit deeper the last couple of games, and for me, it just doesn't really seem to fit. He's a bit messy on the ball, and to play as a number 6, he doesn't really have the ability on the ball to be able to put a foot down and pass it. For me, he's more of an incisive, gets into the box, taps one in type of type of midfielder. So he's more of what you'd maybe call a shadow striker. So personally, I would love to see Orel Mangala start. I think he deserves the chance now, and he did bring Doucouré off in that Fulham game as well. So there's no reason why he won't start. But I mentioned it in the video on our channel that Sean Dyche definitely has his favourites, and I think when his favourites are fit, the likes of Harrison, Doucouré, Keane, Young, all of those. I think it'll be pretty much the same team, to be honest, Martin.
Amanda Broya, a man that played at Southampton, he signed for you in the summer transfer window. I think he was injured when he came in. I'm not sure what his situation is at the moment. Is there any sign of him being fit and ready to play for you at this moment in time?
Not at the moment. We haven't really heard much about him, but look, competition for places is never a bad thing in football. So having him coming in and being able to challenge Beto and Calvert-Lewin will definitely be a strong thing for us. I believe part of the deal was that Chelsea pay his wages while he's injured. So we'll see how he does. But of course, he did play for Southampton, and we'll have to wait for him to come back. But if he does come back, maybe in December or whenever he does come back, it will be like a new signing for us, and it'll be one that if he does, you know what, if he gets off the mark and scores a few in his first few games, the fans will take to him very, very quickly.
Yeah, he's a good player.
Yeah, I mean, it's not hard to make your name for yourself at Everton. Just perform well and try your best. We've seen it with Iliman and Dye this season. Iliman and Dye has been, he's all of a sudden he's become the one player that everyone wants on the back of their shirt because he seems to have a little bit of quality. He seems to be able to get a foot on the ball and bring us up the pitch. He's skillful. He's, you can tell he has quality of a Premier League standard of footballer. He doesn't follow the rest of the team like they do with the passing it backwards or holding onto the ball or kicking it out of play. He almost looks like a kid on the street, and I'm hoping that Armando Broja can do the same thing when he does come in for us, if he can be one of them players. And we've had a lot of them. Nikita Jelavic was one of them. Dennis Strakwalersi was another. Where players can come in, and if they have a good run of games in the first few, even if you don't score, if you look like something else, another option for us, the fans will get behind us. I mean, we get behind you. I mean, Beto signed over a year ago now, and the fans have only just stopped singing his name when he comes on. They really got behind him. So yeah, I'm interested to see Broja actually, and I think when you remember that he's actually there and he will come back, it's quite an exciting one to see, especially with just being alone and there's not really too much of a downside for it in terms of Everton.
Yeah, no, I think it'd be a really good signing for you. I'm excited for the game. You guys will be excited for it as well. You've given us a brilliant insight to all things Everton. I can't let you go without a score prediction, Stephen. What is your score prediction for this one? Do you think Everton come to the South Coast and pick up all 3 points?
Well, I said 2-0 on our channel, and I'm going to stick with that. I think it was 2-0 the last time we played you at St Mary's. I think Connor Cody got one and Dwight McNeil got one. So I'm going to stick with that again. And I'm going to go for a Michael Keane goal, and let's go for an Abdoulaye Doucouré goal. I'm going to go for a 2-0. We just need to pick up points, get ourselves away from that relegation zone as quickly as we can before we get into the new year.
Yeah, a win for you would really open up a bit of a gap between the bottom three and yourselves and set you up for the rest of the season. You're excited for the rest of the season. Obviously, it's the last year at Goodison. Southampton actually play. I think it's pretty much. Is it the last game at Goodison? So
yeah,
I think as a Southampton fan, I'd love to try and get to that game because I think it'd be history forever. But you just need to stay in the league, which is obviously really important. Do you think you can go on and do a bit more than just stay in the league though this year?
I'm not sure. I don't think with Sean Dyche as the manager that we're going to be ever looking at more like that. I think he was given a mandate when he came in to keep the club in the division, and he's not really going to do any more than that. He reminds me a little bit of someone who is getting, it's a bit like somebody who's being paid to go and do an office job and won't really work 30 seconds or a minute into their lunch break. He reminds me a little bit like that. I get paid to do this bit, and I'm only doing this bit. And if you want me to do more, then tough. And I think that's certainly been Sean Dyche's. That's the best way to describe it, to be honest. But no, when it comes to Southampton, I think Southampton now from this season onwards will hold a very special place in a lot of Evertonians' hearts. Crystal Palace's one, the game where we stayed up, we came that fantastic night at Goodison where we came from 2-0 down and won 3-2 and stayed in the division. I think for now, Southampton will be a team that a lot of Evertonians look fondly at. after this season because that game is sure to be a very emotional one. I mentioned it on our side as well. It's hosted the most top flight matches, the first purpose-built football ground in the UK. And it's definitely going to be a tough one. I mean, I've spent hours and hours and hours of my life at Goodison Park, and really, it's been the one constant in my life since I was born. So, yeah, for Southampton, I think it's an honour for them, but I think we will hold a lot of Southampton in our hearts a lot, and then now
it's never the same when you
future.
move, neither, Stephen. It's never the same when you move. Like, I spent my childhood a bit like yourself, growing up at the Dow. I watched Southampton at the Dow, sort of from the late 80s right the way through the 90s until they left and went to St Mary's. And I'll tell you what, it's never quite the same at St Mary's. It doesn't have the same vibe. They didn't bring enough elements from the Dow across to St Mary's, and it's just one of those bowls. It's a little bit soulless at times. It's cold. Doesn't create the greatest atmosphere. There's about 6 other clubs that have exactly the same stadium, and it doesn't really have an identity to it. And it never quite feels the same. But I hope the transition goes well. It's a big thing for any football fan, but for any Everton fan, enjoy this season. Enjoy Goodison Park and the history and the heritage. I can't wait to visit. Whatever happens, I'm going to visit before the end of the season. If I can't get a ticket for the Southampton game, I'll probably come up before with Asmir playing for you guys or being in the squad. So I definitely want to visit Goodison this year. Really appreciate you coming on, Stephen. Make sure you go check Stephen out and all his content and the Toffee Blues. They're absolutely magnificent at what they do. Thank you for joining me today. It's been an absolute pleasure. We're now coming to the end of the show. I hope you've enjoyed our Everton preview here on my channel. It's been a really good insight speaking with Stephen, and a massive shout out to him and the Toffee Blues for coming on to my channel today. Make sure you go check them out and give them a follow. You'll get all the reaction after the game Saturday on their channels and all the build-up as well. But I thought he was a brilliant guest and a really good insight. Seems a little bit downbeat there right now with their manager and the way things are playing out there. They don't like that style of football. And Southampton fans are calling to play more a little bit like the Toffees play. It's interesting to get the view of an opposition's fan and everybody's not happy with different things within their clubs when results are not going how they want them to go. And Southampton are not getting the results they need. And absolutely, a win is a must this weekend. But we must get behind the boys, whatever happens this weekend, and the manager as well. Everybody needs everybody to come together this weekend because it does feel a little bit broken right now. We need that win, and that win would ease so much pressure as we head to Molineux next weekend. Anyway, that is the end of the show. If you've not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe to my channel. I create a lot of Southampton content, as you can see, but I create other content as well. Make sure you share it with your friends as well. If you've got friends that follow Southampton, make sure you do share my channel with them. Love you to share the love of the channel. My dedicated previews of Southampton post-match as well. This weekend, look out for the fan cam on Saturday. I'll be around the ground after the match Saturday to bring you everything post-match from St Mary's. There'll be a match day vlog which will go out Saturday night as well, and you'll be able to get an insight into the atmosphere inside the stadium if you don't have the opportunity to be there at the weekend. Thank you all very much for the support here on the Football Martin channel. Please do subscribe to that channel, smash a like on the video, and I will see you later on in the weekend.